There is a number hiding in your paycheck, a single percentage point that is far more important than your salary. It's not about how much you earn, but the precise slice you command to work for your future self. And right now, without that number, you are running your financial life on a default setting, one designed for consumption, not construction. Today, we find that number. Picture your last paycheck. You see the gross amount, the deductions, and finally, the number that lands in your account. That final number is what most of us budget with. We pay bills, we buy groceries, we live. And investing becomes what's left over. A vague, guilt-ridden, maybe next month, tucked between the takeout and the streaming subscriptions. This is the consumption-first protocol. It's the silent, default system almost everyone runs. It pays everyone else first, and your future gets the crumbs. Here's the exact cost of that default. Let's meet Sasha. Sasha is 25, earns $50,000 a year, and is determined to invest. She uses the leftover method. Some months she saves $200, others $50. Many months, $0. She averages a respectable but inconsistent 5% of her income, about $2,500 a year. Now, meet Kaito. He earns the same $50,000. But before his paycheck even hits his account, he has flipped a switch. He has activated what we will call, for the rest of this video, the Autopilot Allocation. This isn't a budget line item, it's a preemptive command. Kaito's system automatically redirects a fixed percentage of every single dollar he earns into an investment account, before he can even see it. His life adjusts to what remains. The difference isn't just discipline, it's mathematical destiny. Let's assume they both earn 7% annual returns, a conservative long-term market average. Sasha, with her inconsistent $2,500 per year, invests for 40 years. Kaito, with his automated system, commits 10% of his income, $5,000 a year, from day one. At age 65, Sasha's portfolio grows to around $567,000, a life-changing sum built from sheer willpower. But Kaito's autopilot allocation, moving that single decimal point from 5% to 10%, doesn't double her result. It generates over $1.13 million. That $5,000 annual gap creates a future wealth gap of more than $500,000. The leverage point was never the amount, it was the system. The leftover method is a plea to your willpower. The autopilot allocation is a protocol that bypasses willpower entirely. It treats your future wealth not as an optional expense, but as the first and most non-negotiable bill you pay, to yourself. So we are not searching for a random percentage. We are engineering your specific autopilot allocation. And the data gives us a clear blueprint, built on 3 distinct tiers. The first tier is the foundation protocol, 10%. This is the baseline autopilot setting. For decades, financial plans have suggested this rate. It's not a magic number, but it is a psychological and mathematical threshold. Hitting 10% means you are officially building faster than you are likely consuming through inflation. Your money's growth starts to have a palpable momentum. It shifts from being a savings account to a living asset. But what if 10% feels impossible right now? Then you start with the ignition sequence, 1%. The goal is not the size of the percentage, but the activation of the system itself. Your mission is to prove the protocol works. Automate 1% of your income into a broad market ETF. For a $50,000 salary, that's about $40 a month. You will not miss it. But you will have done the most critical thing. You have broken the consumption-first protocol. You have installed your own financial operating system. Once the ignition sequence is confirmed, once you see that first automated buy go through, you escalate. This is where the data shifts from generic advice to a personalized algorithm. The 10% foundation is a universal map, but your specific terrain dictates your path. Your autopilot allocation has 2 primary calibrators, time and target. Time is your most powerful, non-renewable ingredient. If you're in your 20s, a 10 to 15% allocation invested consistently can build staggering wealth due to decades of compounding. That's the power of the long-range protocol. But if you're starting later, the system isn't broken, the calibration just changes. You engage the catch-up calculus, which may require a 20 to 25% allocation to achieve similar results. The second calibrator is your specific financial finish line. This isn't a vague dream of being rich, it's a number. Let's define it as the point where your investments generate enough annual return to cover your basic living expenses. This is your system achieving self-sufficiency. For example, if you need $40,000 a year to live on, and you assume a conservative 4% annual withdrawal rate, you need a portfolio of $1 million. Your autopilot allocation percentage is the engine that gets you there. Let's apply this with a concrete two-path scenario. First, consider Alara. She's 30, earns $60,000, and wants to reach that $1 million finish line by age 65. She commits to a 15% autopilot allocation, $9,000 a year, or $750 a month. With a 7% return, she doesn't just hit the target, she sails past it, reaching over $1.2 million. Her system is calibrated for success. Now observe Ben. He's also 30 and earns the same $60,000. He wants the same security but finds 15% too steep a climb right now. He could make a fatal mistake, doing nothing while he waits to afford it. Instead, he uses the system's escalation protocol. He starts his ignition sequence at 5%, $3,000 per year. For 2 years, he builds the habit. At 32, he gets a 3% raise. He doesn't just absorb that raise into his lifestyle, he uses half of it to escalate his allocation to 6.5%. He repeats this process. Every raise, every bonus, half goes to increasing his autopilot percentage. By age 40, he's comfortably at 16%, investing more than Alara did from the start, and his portfolio, though initially slower, is now accelerating on a nearly identical trajectory. The system rewards consistency, not just the initial number. This is the core psychological shift. You are not giving up money to invest. You are promoting a portion of your income from a temporary worker, earning a one-time wage for a day's labor, to a permanent 24/7 employee in your wealth-building enterprise. That 10% or 15% is your first team of dedicated employees. Their only job is to go out, recruit more employees through compounding returns, and build a company that eventually pays your salary. So what is your number? The data-driven blueprint is this. If you're starting, command 1% to prove the system works. Within 1 year, escalate to the foundation protocol of 10%. Then, calibrate. Use time and your finish line to adjust. Are you behind? Engage the catch-up calculus. Are you on track? Consider the accelerated autopilot, moving to 15% or 20%, not as a strain, but as a strategic choice to bring your finish line years closer. The most common failure isn't picking the wrong percentage, it's leaving the choice in the hands of your tired, present self every single month. Your willpower is a limited resource. Your system is a perpetual machine. The moment you automate your first percentage, however small, you cease being a passive participant in your financial life. You become the architect of a machine that works while you sleep. Your income is the raw material. The percentage you choose is the blueprint. And the autopilot allocation is the factory. You don't just invest a percent of your income. You launch a financial architecture that transforms earned currency into lasting freedom. Start the ignition sequence. The build begins now.
The single best financial decision you can make right now? Invest in your financial education. Hit subscribe to get our next breakdown and turn on notifications so you don't miss out, because the system only works if you apply it consistently. I'll see you in the next one.